Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. The Week 11 first look is here. DraftKings Week 11 came quicker than every other week that I've ever seen before. I've never gone through a season this quickly. Like, time flies when you're having fun, sort of a thing. So like, I can't believe that we're already on the back end. We're on the down slope of the season. But here we are. We still got to talk about NFL DFS for at least another, I don't know, 10, 11 weeks before we hit the Super Bowl showdown. So we've got a whole bunch of more millionaire makers to attack, and I'm going to take a look at building a tournament lineup for this week on DraftKings. I'm going to use a quarterback. I'll let you guess which one. I'm going to come up with a double stack. We're going to correlate a secondary stack with this lineup. We're going to see what we can do. Wanted to say thank you to everybody who has watched these videos over the course of the season. I understand that not everybody ends up subbing, but if you do appreciate the content, I would appreciate if you did drop a like on the video. If you would happen to drop a subscription on the channel, it helps in ways that like I could totally go into and go down the rabbit hole with you. But really, if you subscribe, or don't subscribe, you're still going to see the videos if you watch them in your feed. But if you subscribe, it helps YouTube push the videos to more people in their feeds that they might think might be interested in it. Because if you're a returning viewer and you subscribe, it shows them that you're more interested in that content. So therefore, like, wow, we should probably show this content to more people. So it helps me out without you having to do one thing. Leave me a reply down below with which quarterback you're looking to stack this week. And I did want to say that if you take a look right down here at the No Kid Hungry fundraiser, we have crossed the $20,000 mark, meaning that triggered another $10,000 donation from me. I'm currently at $30,000. The community's at $20,000. We have $5,000 left to go to reach our goal. So if you had a good week last week in week 10, or if you think that you have benefited either as a player or directly monetarily from the content, go to smizzle.tv/charity. There's a link down below in the description if you needed to just click the link without typing in that URL. Every single dollar helps. Anything that you can give will help us progress towards the goal. And at $25,000, I will commit another $10,000 to the pot. So without further ado, thank you very much. And let's hit the week.
He's a legend.
All right, so we've got a really interesting week this week. There's 12 games on the schedule, and we have some really great stackable teams on it. Thursday night game is Patriots and Falcons. Sunday night is Steelers Chargers, so we lose Herbert. And then Monday night is Giants Bucks, so we lose Brady double stacks. But like everybody else, for the most part, is still on this slate. We have a lot of good matchups. We have some really fun high totaled games, some running backs that look extremely viable, and good value at the running back position as well. So like Josh Allen doubles against Indy, fine. I'm not ever going to tell you, you know what? It's probably a bad idea to stack Josh Allen, considering that their team total is always around 30. You know that you're going to get a lot of volume going towards Stefon Diggs, who, you remember like back here, I said he's not scoring enough touchdowns. And we have a timestamp tweet to prove it. Too many air yards, too much volume, too many end zone targets to keep not scoring touchdowns. 3 touchdowns in each of the last or in 3 of the last 4 weeks. So he's starting to see that volume that he is still getting turn into touchdowns. He was very much on the wrong side of variance before, and then pick another player that you want to stack with him. Lamar Jackson stacks will still be in vogue. With Lamar Jackson throwing the ball over 40 times, an awful lot, we get that rushing floor with touchdown upside, and we have not seen him score a touchdown in any of his last 5 games on the ground, but multiple touchdowns in 2 of those last 5, with 40 attempts in 3 of those last 5. So the 300-yard bonus is way more in play for him this year, and getting way more production from what seems like a still underpriced Hollywood Brown, who I could not find quickly by scrolling, only at 7,100 and going up against Chicago's pass defense, which has allowed an awful lot of yards and fantasy points on DraftKings to opposing wide receivers. 4 of the last 5 games, and the last 3 with double-digit targets for MARQUISE. But as I said, the quarterback that I'm going to go with here, if you want to go cheaper, you want to go more expensive, fine, I get it. But like Dak Prescott, guys, I don't know what else we really want from this Cowboys offense. It now just got healthier. which may make it a little bit harder to stack or double stack. However, it makes them more dynamic. The better pieces that you have, the more separation that wide receivers can get, the more pressure that they can put on an opposing defense, the better that it makes it for the quarterback, because efficiency and not necessarily volume is what leads to touchdown scoring, which is what leads to really high fantasy point days from your quarterback. 25 to 35 points is what we're looking for from Dak Prescott in terms of him being a quarterback that can lead to a tournament winning day and satisfy a double stack that goes along with him. Four of the last 5 games and 5 total on the season, he has reached that benchmark, 25 to 35 fantasy points. So if we plug in Dak and we head over to that game, if I can find it, which is the last game on the slate, the highest totaled game on the slate, and a very fast, great fantasy environment, defense that has given up a ton of points to opposing quarterbacks, the Kansas City Chiefs, 2.5 total. This game looks like it could just end up being a shootout. It's projected to be a shootout. It's going to be very heavily trafficked. So by Sunday, you're probably going to have to find ways to get a little bit different, or find ways to get different within the stack. It's going to be extremely popular. People are going to ask me all week, I know, can I just play 5 players? Can I double stack Dak and bring back with 2 players on Kansas City? Of course you can, if you think that that's going to be the only game to shoot out, but it's also going to lead to a really high percentage of play in total cumulatively for your lineup because of how many people are going to be on that. CeeDee Lamb had a massive day last week. You guys know that coming into the season, he was my favorite pass catching option on this Cowboys offense as long as Dak was going to be healthy, and Dak has been healthy, and he has not disappointed with 2 more touchdowns and 2 games on the season with multiple touchdowns. I'm going to plug CeeDee Lamb in here, and as I said before, Gallup was the one who got healthy. Only saw 5 targets in that week 10 blowout, but part of that was because it was a blowout. They didn't have to run the offense anymore. They were up 30 points in the first half. The starters didn't play the fourth quarter. That will not be, in my estimation, what's going to happen here. And at $4,200, his price tag is still too cheap for what he, A, offers, B, can bring to the table in terms of upside, a 60-yard touchdown waiting to happen at all times. Now, looking at the Chiefs and isolating them to the flex, Tyreek Hill has been outstanding this year. 4 out of the last 5 games with double-digit targets. Always has that slate-breaking possibility like he did in week 4 against Philadelphia. The one team that has been the toughest on outside receivers in the league gave up a 3-touchdown game to him way back in week 4. He can go off any week, and he's going to be popular this week. It could be a pay-up to be contrarian spot unless value pops. I'm not going to go that route here. Assuming that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still out, we don't know if he will. He's got a good chance to return Sunday against the Cowboys. We'll see. I think that Williams, at least for the sake of this lineup, right? And if you have to shift off of this by the time the weekend comes and CEH is back, Williams has been the guy that we had hoped that CEH was going to be all along for this Kansas City Chiefs offense. 9 catches on 9 targets last week. Continued usage in the passing game. Solid enough in the running game. Used inside the 5-yard line. Made a ridiculous catch against Las Vegas last night. I'm going to plug him in as our bring back. And if CEH is back, you can pivot anywhere else that you would want. Most likely Tyreek Hill. But more likely to me, I'm saying that Travis Kelce cannot continue disappointing people the way that he had before. 17.8 points in week 9. 22.9 points on the Sunday night game in week 10 on 10 more targets. Nobody at the tight end position is as reliable as Travis Kelce, and I would assume that the tight end or the end zone targets continue to increase over the second half of the season, where they were non-existent for the first half of the season. If you want to pivot to that, fine. That's up to you. There's plenty of running backs to go with. I'm going to go with Williams here. You can pivot to CEH if you think that he's going to be the guy by the weekend. And as I said, there's a lot of cheap running backs on the list that you're going to be able to get to, not the least of which is Deonta Foreman. One of my favorite plays from a couple years ago in best ball before he blew out his Achilles, it was actually the year that he blew out his Achilles, has kind of taken over control of that Tennessee running game in the stead of Derrick Henry. No one man can do it, but he has looked the best, passing the eyeball test. he's not getting 70% of the touches, which is really the biggest drawback in this spot. But at 4,900, a solid value play there. We have a bunch of value plays this week, and I'm sure that more will open up because it just kind of is what it is. I'm assuming as well, again, it's Monday, we can play this game and we can jump around, that against Philadelphia, you'd much rather attack them in the middle of the field than on the outside. They've given up a ton of points to opposing running backs. Yes, he might lose a little bit of end zone equity when it comes to, Taysom Hill and the packages that they run for him around the goal line, but 5,400 for the volume that he should project to get and still get at least half of the inside the 5 touches. And this passing game usage just really can't be ignored. When one of the running backs in New England or New Orleans is out and there's only one guy, whether that only one guy is Kamara or right now the only one guy being Mark Ingram, he looks like too good of a value for me to pass up at 5,400. There's still other value plays. Some of the most glaring, Connor against Seattle at 6,100. If Chase Edmonds is out, I would much prefer this if Kyler Murray was still in. AJ Dillon against Minnesota, even though he's on the road, should see the majority of the targets and the touches and all of the play at running back. I'm assuming 70 to 80% of the snaps at running back should fall to AJ Dillon, with him moving into that alpha role at running back. As good as he is inside the 5-yard line, as massive as he is, when you add to the fact that he should be running against very light boxes because of Davante Adams on the outside and what Aaron Rodgers can do, clearly. And we talked about this as well. DraftKings at this point of the year, week 9, week 10, week 11, is going to ratchet up the prices. We're seeing the highest prices for running backs right now. Christian McCaffrey clearly back in a game where they didn't need him in the second half and started rolling out other guys like Chuba Hubbard and everybody else on that running back room. But 23 touches for him, 10 of them coming through the air, tackled twice on the 1-yard line, 8,900 for him. Jonathan Taylor, no running back in the league has been hotter, moves up to 8,300, 20 plus points in every single game since week 3. Healthy scratches for Marlon Mack each of the last 2 weeks. The lion's share of the running back work going towards Jonathan Taylor as we come down the stretch, but a very tough matchup at Buffalo. Dalvin Cook draws Green Bay. Ezekiel Elliott going against Kansas City. I'm not going to use him in this Dak Prescott stack in that situation there. DeAndre Swift has been fantastic because of his continued usage in the passing game, but monitor the quarterback situation there. So plenty of running backs once again this week on DraftKings. And it's not a situation where I think you need to look for or fade anything. So we have to fill things out. Let's take a look at our defense there. I'm going to plug in a defense at home against Miami. Great. Whatever. Cheap defense, highly variant, leaving us with about 6,000 left to spend. So I'm going to try and get one more correlation in this lineup. And we got lucky. Maybe. Not maybe. We definitely got lucky. In week 10. With one of these plays, but another high totaled close game on this slate is Green Bay, Minnesota. So we certainly got lucky at the tight end spot with Tyler Conklin getting those 2 touchdowns after not scoring a touchdown since week 3, but the volume predicted that touchdowns were coming. Now, I didn't expect him to catch for 11 yards and 3 catches with 2 of them being in the end zone, but we'll take the points where they fall. 3,900 is still too cheap for him. You can try and play the game on Green Bay of just guess who the tight end is going to be on that offense. If you wanted to go with one of the Minnesota wide receivers, you guys know that I love Justin Jefferson, and he has been underplayed in tournaments pretty much every week this year. And if you think that you want to attack those GBDBs, they kind of give me the heebie-jeebies. Ha ha! Got him! But you know who doesn't? It's Davante Adams at 8,400. He's really, 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 really cheap. He's not really cheap. But another player that can break a slate for you, just like Tyreek Hill, in this situation where Minnesota has not been outstanding against high volume wide receivers. We've seen them give up a ton. And Green Bay, this gives us our bring back play here in a game that is what is it, the spread there? I lost it. Packers favored by 3, and the total is 50.5, so a lot of scoring expected there, leaving us 5,600 for a flex spot. And I feel like my warm blanket this entire season has been T. Higgins. He's getting too much volume. He has to disappoint. He has not disappointed, but has not had a smash week. This is another one of those spots, a lot like CONKLIN. If you're getting this much volume and you're getting that many end zone targets and you have another player that's drawing safety over the top and you get to run a lot of the short to intermediate routes as well as get end zone targets, T. Higgins should certainly be a player that could pay off in this spot. We also have seen Waddle get a ton of volume, but I like the safety, let's say, plus upside possibility of somebody like T. Higgins. So we'll plug him in there. I believe he's also a late game. He is 105. If I wanted to optimize this, I would pull CeeDee Lamb out of here, put Higgins in the wide receiver spot, because you always want your latest player playing in the flex to give you as much flexibility as you can possibly get. If they kick later, if they tip off later for NBA, you want to put them down in the utility or the flex spot. So there's my first look lineup. Dak Prescott double stack with Gallup and Lamb. We're going to bring that back with Williams. You can pivot off of that if CEH is back. Evan Ingram. Mark Ingram for value and volume. We have the same thing with T. Higgins as a one-off, and the Davante Adams and Tyler Conklin, aka Gronklin, secondary stack in that spot. Thank you guys for watching. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, look out for another one right there.
He's a legend.